Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel once again. I am Robert Storms. If you're finding me for the very first time, please do me a huge favor. Hit that like button in the video and subscribe to the channel for more future content. So it's really early in the morning. It's 3 in the morning. I have to be up at 6 to go do things, and I just can't sleep. I got out of the movie about 9 o'clock. I did a huge live stream that's on the channel, but I'm laying down in bed, and I just can't stop thinking about this movie and how disappointed I am as a fan of Star Wars and a fan that supported the Disney sequel trilogy. I liked The Force Awakens. I thought Force Awakens was a fun film. I am one of the very rare and few people that enjoy The Last Jedi. But the movie that we've got, this damage control piece of Reddit theory crap that we've got for A Rise of Skywalker makes me depressed. It really does. To me, I feel like J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio basically went on Reddit and looked up everybody's fan theory and said, we're going to put all that in the goddamn movie and we're not going to explain a fucking thing, and you guys got to just fill in the blanks yourself. Palpatine came back in this movie. What was the purpose of Palpatine coming back in this movie? They didn't explain how he came back. Is he a clone? Is it the Palpatine from the original trilogy? I don't understand how the hell Palpatine came back. They didn't explain it. It's like, boom, Palpatine's back. There you go. That's your information. Have fun with that. And I am what you would consider a hardcore Star Wars fan. I am someone who feels like I have to read every canon novel, canon comic to understand this lore. I do it because I love Star Wars, and what they force-fed us in this movie is nothing short of insulting to fans' IQ. If you're an average fan and you don't really, care too much to dive deep into this, you're probably going to get some enjoyment in this. But this movie is a convoluted piece of fucking trash. Like what's going on in this movie? I don't know. Now, maybe I'm letting my emotions kind of get the better of me, because there are very few things in this film that I do find enjoyable, but the problem is nothing is earned, nothing is set up. Say what you want about The Last Jedi, because believe me, I know there's a lot of people that do not like that movie, but at least The Last Jedi was a coherent story. Rian Johnson had a structure to the movie that worked. This movie's all over the goddamn place. They have fucking MacGuffins out of MacGuffins out of MacGuffins. It should have been called Star Wars Rise of the fucking MacGuffin, because that's all that is in this movie. It's like, you go to this planet, you get this MacGuffin. This MacGuffin leads you to this MacGuffin. This MacGuffin leads you to that MacGuffin. They got fucking physical MacGuffins, live MacGuffins, MacGuffins everywhere. If you guys don't know what a MacGuffin is, it's a thing that doesn't really serve a purpose but to lead the plot forward. So basically, Luke Skywalker's lightsaber in Force Awakens is a MacGuffin. Luke Skywalker is MacGuffin in Force Awakens because the whole movie is about trying to find Luke. So Luke is the MacGuffin to move the story forward. In this movie, there's like 5 million fucking MacGuffins, and none of them lead to anything. Instead of them just saying, hey, this is the one thing that will tell you everything you need to know. No, this MacGuffin leads to this planet, and this MacGuffin leads to that planet. And if you don't figure that out, here comes a character who's a living MacGuffin that will tell you. It's just a convoluted mess. This movie is a mess. And I hate to say this, but you cannot sit there and look at Chris Terrio, who also wrote Justice League, which is also a fucking mess, and say, look, they just didn't know what they were doing. They just did not know what they were doing with this movie. And again, maybe I'm letting my emotions ride high right now, because the more I sit and the more I think about it, it just drives me insane, because this is how we're going to end the Skywalker saga on this note. We're going to end the Skywalker saga on this note. Who's Rey's parents? Well, guess what? We get the answer to this lineage. And you know what? It makes no damn sense. Like why do it? Why? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand. With this movie was damage control. This movie was supposed to take and unite the fans who didn't like Last Jedi and bring them back into the forefront. This was JJ's apology letter for Rian Johnson's Last Jedi. Well, now what you did was, those people are still pissed, and now you're pissed off the people that likes The Last Jedi, so now the group of people that are pissed off is just bigger now. So, in a way, this did unite the fan base, because now everybody just doesn't like this shit. Like, how can we... Force Awakens was a pretty high note. Last Jedi was very diverse, split the fan base. This movie just unites the fan base on hating what they've done. If you're Bob Iger, you have to call Kathleen Kennedy in the office, like, look, I'm sorry, we have to let you go. this isn't working. There was no clear-cut vision of this whole thing. Palpatine coming back is a laughable joke. It doesn't make any sense. It just, I'm really disappointed. I'm really disappointed. As bad as, I'm not a big fan of Solo. Solo, to me, I think was the weakest Star Wars film we ever had. Up until this point, but Solo is a coherent story. The plot goes from point A to point B, and it makes sense. They introduce something within that movie. It makes sense because they built up the story to focus and serve that movie. This movie makes 100 different leaps that they ask you to do, and there's no build up to it. It's like, oh, this happens. Why did it happen? You don't need to fucking know why it happens. Just deal with it. And that's one of the things that I really dislike about this movie. The first hour in this movie is just so damn sloppy and messy. Characters show up that have no reason to be there. They don't explain why certain things are. It's a mess. It's a mess. It's a mess. Now, with that said, I am upset 100% for sure. I never thought I would be saying this about a Star Wars film. I can't believe I'm saying this, like me looking at myself. I always say I focus on the good in Star Wars, and I do think there are some good, and I'm going to try to focus on that. I'm going to go see this movie a couple more times today with some friends I know. Okay, I'm going to an early showing and a late showing with some friends, and I'm hoping to go in there with a more positive spin and focus on the stuff that I like. But right now, I just feel like there's so much negative. People think that Finn has a better arc in this. Finn is completely wasted in this. Poe Dameron is a fucking asshole in the beginning of this movie. Leia's whole role is kind of pointless. Palpatine, what was the point of bringing Palpatine back? You didn't explain a goddamn thing. There's so many holes and things that are just not explained, and they don't care to explain it. And the stuff they do explain, there's no reason for it to be the way it is. And overall, I think this movie is just a giant clusterfuck of a film. I think it's a dumpster fire. I think it's a massive failure, a mess. And I'm really curious to see what this movie is going to do box office wise, because originally I thought it was going to make $1 billion easily. It may still make $1 billion, but if it doesn't, it doesn't surprise me. This movie to me is a massive disappointment, and I am very, very sad by that. But I want to know what you guys think. Be sure to leave your comments in the comment box below. And until next time, as always, I am Robert Storms, and that is my opinion.